Hello everybody, welcome to another knockoff review. In today's video, thanks to the guys over at Toys, we're taking a look at the NeoArt NT-09 Leonidas Beast Muscle EVA colour matching. This is of course their bootleg of the Perfect Effects Leonidas done up in the Evangelion colour scheme, and he is rather scrumptious. And on the back of the highly reflective box, it's got some pictures of him in some rather nice poses, and it's the Fulala Arms new version transform complete with weaponry. It's the Origrin Leonidas, dead katana ×2, dagger ×2, laser bow ×1, whip ×1, stand ×1, laser gun ×2. I don't care about the bad spelling. At the end of the day, this is going to be awesome. Much like the Perfect Effects version and the alternative NeoArt figures in the past, he comes in a 2-tier plastic clamshell with an extremely dodgy set of instructions. It's been photocopied and then photocopied again by the looks of things. It's a little bit rough. Okay, this is pretty darn awesome. The colours are fantastic on this. Yes, there was a custom done of the original Perfect Effects Leonidas. It was done up in the Evangelion colours. It had like 1,000 layers of paint on it and it looked incredible. They've obviously based it on that, but they're not going to use that sort of paint application, but what they have done is exceptionally good. He's so vibrant, he literally glows and he screams Evangelion. I haven't attached all of the accessories or anything yet. I've just popped him on his stand, but I have attached his horn. He comes with a horn that is bloody brilliant. Now they have changed pretty much every piece of the equipment, the colour scheme anyway. They've all gone kind of the darks with the oranges and purples. This is the original from their NeoArt Leonidas. I actually quite like this kind of neonish glow they've got going on. It is very reminiscent. They've done very well with the colour matching actually to the EVAs on Evangelion. Right, now we get 2 of the guns. We get the horn, we get the base and the stand. We get 2 die-cast swords and their sheaths. These just peg onto the side, and these swords are lovely. I do love a nice die-cast blade. Again, really vibrant purple on there, and they slide in wonderfully. Another great colour change with the crossbow, albeit paint application on the inside of this lip isn't the best, but still, it's quite crisp on there. I think that may even be a tampo on there, I'm not sure, but again, very in keeping with the colour scheme. We've got his butt shield here, nice kind of metallic sheen to that, and we've got all of the hinges. Everything feels tighter on this than it did with my original from NeoArt. The joints and even the weapons, I don't know if it's the additional paint applications, but whatever it is, it really has helped to kind of bulk this guy out and keep him together. We get his tail, aka whip, which can obviously detach and become the 2 blades. Now what I would actually love to see something like this in a show. I think that'd be brilliant, kind of bringing in a crossover. You've got Prime, we've got Leonidas now, all of them kind of suited and booted with like the alien DNA. You get the translucent orange kind of Zoids style visor for the lion. I'm not a fan of the visor. I will put it on just so you can all see what it looks like, but I just don't like that Zoids look. And of course, last but by no means least, we've got some extension tabs for that whip. I mean, just look at that. He looks freaking awesome. Fantastic paint scheme, great design. That's props to Perfect Effects, of course, but this is definitely my favourite version of this mould. It's just, I don't know, something about it. It just seems like they've kind of upped their game with this piece. Here he is with his original counterpart. Don't get me wrong, this is a good version of the mould. It just seems that this guy, he's just tighter. The joints just seem to work better, and it just seems more fluid and easier to pose. I had a lot of problems with the feet area on this guy. Apparently that was a common fault throughout the production, whereas the EVA version doesn't really appear to suffer the same traits. And of course, how could we not invite Xerxes to the party as well? He too carries a very awesome, gorgeous looking paint scheme. Right now, weight wise, he weighs 469 grams. That's 16.54 ounces and stands approximately 8.5 inches from his toes to the tip of his head. That's around 22 centimeters, and you're looking at nearly 11 inches to the top of his horn. Quick scale comparison, here he is alongside MP10. As you can see, he is a much slender build, and he is quite a bit shorter. He comes up to kind of the chest area of MP10, but I still class him as kind of a masterpiece figure. He may not fit into any specific category, but he is made wonderfully, and he is just a fantastic looking figure. Let's cover the articulation. The head can look left and right. We can go up and down quite nicely. The shoulders, we have these removable tabs just above the shoulders, and they are on a piston. The shoulders are made up of a two-part system. We have this ball socket at the top here, which allows for a fantastic range, and we can bring the arms all the way forwards and all the way back on kind of a chest butterfly joint, but we can also bring the arms out on a hinge, and holding that shoulder joint steadfast, we can still rotate the shoulder up and down on a pivot. On the inside there, we get an upper bicep rotation. We get these claws on the arms kind of getting in the way a little bit. We get a bend at the elbow all the way up. That's a really good range on that, but you do have to kind of hold all of these sections together. There's about 3 different parts that form the forearm, and you have to kind of move them all in unison, otherwise you end up with big gaps in those arms. They're nice and chunky now. The original didn't appear to be as chunky as that, and this is all die cast. We get rotation on that wrist, and we do get the ability to open and close those hands. We get a ball joint on the upper torso, which allows for a nice range, and we can go forwards and backwards on an abdominal crunch. And we also get an additional motion on the lower torso, which can go left and right and tilt side to side. So he's a very dynamic looking figure. We can get some crazy good poses. We can also open up the chest. We can just move these out of the way. They are hinged. Bring that down, and there we have his matrix of leadership. Just love these little missile pods on those shoulders as well. And coming down to the legs, they can come forwards on a friction joint, backwards on a friction joint, out to the side. Nice little rotation inside there as well. Coming down to the legs, we've got a lovely double jointed knee with the ratchet joint visible, but doesn't look out of place at all considering how kind of robotic this thing looks. We do get loads and loads and loads of die cast in here as well. And as you can see, we've got some pistons here in the back of the legs. It's really nice. The knee pads themselves do move up and down, so we can cover off those knee sections. They just slide up and down the knee joint itself to cover that off. And then coming down to the feet, we go forwards and backwards. We can tilt left and right. We can of course rotate, and we do have individual articulation on these toes. These are much tighter on this guy than they were on any of the other versions I own of this mold. So we can get a nice deep stance with no fear of him falling over. He just looks awesome, doesn't he? I'm a little bit fanboy with this guy. I love EVAs, and this has got to be one of the best versions of an EVA that I've owned. Now, as good as he looks in this form, he does of course transform. I'm not going to show the transformation. It's the same with every single version of this mold. So let's just take a look at his alt mode. And here we have him all transformed up into his beast mode. I like to kind of think of this as if the EVA's gone berserk and it kind of goes into a beast mode and just tears through every and anything. Now, as much as I do love this beast mode, I can't help but feel like it's just a robot bent over with a lion's head. I know we've extended like the torso and the arms go either way, but it does scream Zoids, and it does look very much like a Zoid, but I definitely prefer that bot mode. It's definitely why I bought this piece. I have no intention of displaying him in this form, but I thought I would show it off to you nonetheless. The head can look up and down, we can go left and right and tilt quizzically. The jaw can open, rawr, and the horn section can of course tilt backwards and forwards. We can move all of these pieces basically to make the mane bigger. I don't like this rolling joint on the shoulder. I roll it. Let's get rid of this visor. I roll this joint forwards as per the instructions. We do tend to have too much play in that upper bicep underneath this joint in this form, which unfortunately does lead to him kind of splitting his front legs and falling down. They do bend very much like a cat, and we do have movement on this paw section as well, and individual toe articulation. The waist, due to those double ball joints, can get some really nice curves on that, which again is very cat-like. We get a ball jointed socket on these thighs, and we have these double jointed knees again coming down to those feet. Do you see what I mean about these front legs though? They just want to keep falling forwards, which unfortunately doesn't really help him when we're trying to pose him in his kind of feline form. I would like the tail joints to have been just a fraction tighter as well, just so they would hold up there on their own. Maybe I've made it a little bit too long, I'm not sure. And this is just me nitpicking. All in all, he's a very good bot. He's very affordable in comparison to the official Perfect Effects figures. Now, of course, without Perfect Effects, these figures would not exist, so I urge you to support the original brand. But if you would like some different repaints that Perfect Effects don't offer, then NeoArt is definitely a very viable option. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, share, and of course subscribe. When you subscribe to the NeoArtCollectables channel, make sure you hit that bell icon, which gives you notifications every time I upload more awesome bootlegs. Until next time, from myself and NeoArt's Leonidas, Evangelion style, goodbye.